Hey there everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Gabrielle Victoria and I am so glad that you're here. This month is a very special episode of the Gift of Gab, okay? Now this is our monthly segment where we have a special guest join us and we sit down and have an in-depth conversation about some area or topic of expertise that they can shed light and encouragement to. So this month I am super excited that we have our very first male guest, and our male guest is no stranger to the internet, no stranger to a microphone, and no stranger to social media. He is a influencer in his own right, but I'll let him speak for himself. But I am super excited this week. Our topic is Live Full, Die Empty, the life and legacy of the Black man in America. So he is our inaugural male guest. I am so happy to have him here. So of course we had to do this interview via Zoom because he is all the way in Maryland, and because of social distancing, but this is going to be an amazing opportunity to have a conversation, and hopefully you guys get something from it and feel encouraged after this interview. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get right into it.
Okay, so thank you guys again for joining us. This is our very special segment of the Gift of Gab. We bring it to you once a month, and each time we have a very special guest that comes to share their life experience and their expertise. This month, I am super excited actually because we have our very first male guest from a male perspective, which I think is super important, especially with today's topic. Freddy Mac is our guest today, and he is no stranger to the mic, no stranger to social media. He's actually an influencer in his own right. So I wanted to introduce him and bring him on today to speak to us about legacy and living. So, Freddy Mac, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. I am so glad that you decided to accept my invitation.
Of course, I couldn't turn you down.
Turn me down, actually. You really didn't have a choice, but
Right.
I'm glad that you obliged so gracefully.
For sure.
So this week, I wanted to mention, I always do this, I wanted to mention in your bio, you mentioned and described yourself specifically as having a contagious smile, being upbeat, and having a can-do attitude. And what I really loved about that is usually in a bio, and typically that's not intentionally placed, but I thought it was super important because as a Black man, we're not used to usually hearing those words associated with Black men. You know, it's power, it's strength, it's, you know, the masculine words, but being upbeat and being joyful and the sense of hope, I think that's just as important as well. So why was that intentional to make sure that you had that in your bio?
Just because, bio does just that, describes who you are. Not just your accolades and accomplishments and all those things. That's cool and that's great. But I just want people to know too, the type of person I am. So I love to just approach you with a smile. I'm very approachable, disarming, caring, loving, like those kinds of things, as far as my smile goes. And I like to make sure people, know that ahead of time. If not, you're gonna find out. Right. And then also I'm a glass half full type of person. So positivity is everything to me. So positive vibes only. And yeah, you can do anything. No one can tell you can't. You can do anything you put your mind to, anything you put the work in on, you can do that. And I just want people to know that. And if you find maybe some encouragement in my bio, then hopefully that helps too. Just in those few words, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's important to note as we delve into our topic today. It's a little bit of a heavy topic, but I was very intentional in bringing some Black boy joy to the topic because there is a sense of hope when we think about our legacy as Black people and especially the plight of the Black man in America. So I'm glad that you're here. And so with that, the glass being half full, 2020, as a lot of people have said, it has been kicking our butts. It has been snatching a lot of our giants, and it's been a time of unrest for the Black community. So what has been the biggest lesson, I guess you can say, that you've learned in 2020 with the way that it's been set up? Has it forced you to work harder, quicker, or has it kind of encouraged you to slow down?
Well, honestly, 2020 is, like you said, you worded that perfectly. It's been all over the place, emotionally, mentally, physically, for everyone. But I think 2020 has pushed me to really like let go and let God.
Okay.
Right? Like I wanted to. I realized once you stop trying to force things to work, you stop trying to force it. You force it. Oh, I think this is the opportunity. I think this is where I need to be. This is where I'm supposed to be doing. And you just do what you're supposed to do, and you let God take care of the rest. He'll open all the correct doors. He'll put you where you're supposed to be. He'll do the rest of the work. You just do your part. And then as far as slowing down or doing a whole lot of different things, I've slowed way down. I've slowed way down. Because since I can remember, I've really always had this go, go, go mentality. You know what I mean? Work this, do that, commit to this, commit to that, do all these different things, stay busy. And it's because, I like to work and I love what I do. But I've really had to slow down because a lot of those events got canceled. Those weddings got rescheduled that I was going to DJ and things like that. But slow down and be present is really something else that I've learned. Family and close friends and things like that are what's most important, not your job. And I think that's too a lot of at least it was my identity, and it's still something I'm working through, to not find my identity in just my work, or definitely not what other people think of me and things like that. But your family is what matters most, those true like family values and things like that. But again, yeah, to be mentally and physically present. And there's nothing wrong with being on the go. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with having different jobs and, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll be the last person to tell you there's something wrong with that. But to give yourself some time and slow up a little bit is what I've learned.
Absolutely. I think finding that balance has been the biggest realization in 2020 for me, is because you know me, I'm always type A. I have a timeline, I have a plan, and I want to go and get it. But 2020, especially with the loss of so many people and things becoming so blatant, it's like, I need to be present, be aligned, and like you said, let go and let God. There's a phrase that I want to bring to the forefront in this conversation to kind of frame our conversation. It's a phrase that my mom introduced me to. It says, live full and die empty. Now, this may even challenge that idea of just being present, but what does that phrase mean to you when you hear it?
Yeah, that definitely challenges like slowing down a little bit. And that's why like work-life balance is so important. It's different for everybody. There's no one right way, or there's certainly no wrong way of doing it. It just however fits your schedule. But to me, live full and die empty is a very great quote, first of all. So shout out to your mom. To me, that really is, it means like to live life with no regrets. Don't waste your life away on meaningless worries and situations and activities. Go on that trip, pursue that dream job, buy that house, make time for your family, like I was saying, and your friends. Don't allow yourself to live life other than the one you were born to live, to be completely honest. Your life is your own, and prayerfully when I reach 90, 100 years old, I can look back on my life and not be like, oh, I woulda, coulda, shoulda, have all these different regrets. You know what I mean? I can, it sounds kind of weird saying it, but I can die, peacefully. And all the while I've served God the entire way too. So that's also important, my spirituality. So yeah, that's a great quote. Live full, die empty. That it says a lot. And it means a lot. That has a very deep tone to it.
It sounds all profound and right, philosophical. But
yeah.
I only bring it up is because we're seeing more and more of our people who are quote unquote young, people under 50, dying. And that's when this quote kind of comes to life, especially recently with Chadwick Boseman. And you see the life that they lived, the impact they were able to leave, and all the things that they were able to accomplish in a short amount of time. And you can say that they lived full, and when they died, granted, obviously there's always potential, but they died and they had left it all on the court.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like you are living full, or is that something it's more of a realization that you're working towards?
Man, I think I'm still working towards it.
Okay.
I'm still working towards it. It's something I've really been going through the last like 8 months or so. Like I've really been trying to do a mental reconfiguration, right? Where I'm making sure I'm focusing on those things, as we mentioned, like the pandemic and everything, trying to slow down and what's
Yeah.
important in life and things like that, you know, really doubling down on those things. So I'm a work in progress.
Working
I'm a work in progress for sure.
I think we all are. I think the more these types of realizations become like they hit closer to home is when we really start to say, no, I need to just go ahead and write that book. I need to go ahead and start my dreams and stop making excuses for whatever, like you said, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. You
Yeah.
mentioned in the last 8 months that this has kind of been your new way of life and way of thinking. So I know you are a popular radio personality and you are now transitioning into the next chapter of your life. So
Yeah.
I think about your legacy as a radio personality, obviously being a presence and having representation. What was your goal and what was your intent when you got on the mic every day? Did you wake up every morning knowing I'm going to be doing this as a Black man and leaving this for those behind? Or was it you didn't really realize the impact until after you left?
Man, that's a great question. And I was just been thinking on this the last couple of days. And you don't really realize the impact you have in the moment. At least I did it in the moment. I was just doing what I love. I'm just hosting these events. I'm just talking on the radio. I'm just doing these things because I love doing it. And because I felt like I was in service to the community, in service to the people. That was my mindset all along. So in the moment, I'm not thinking about, oh yeah, they gonna love me. They gonna always remember this. Like, you know, it's just, that wasn't my mindset at all. And I feel like when it is, it's a hindrance. You're hindering yourself, and you're also hindering the people that are affected by what you do and what you say. So my focus was always just the people. How can I serve? How can I help? And, you know, if I get some shine, that's cool. That's great. You know, but that was never, ever will be or was my main focus. The shine or the popularity that comes from that. It's just always, how can I help? How can I serve? And I want people to remember too, like, you know, he cared. He was genuine. He was positive. He made an impact on us that way. And judging by a lot of the Facebook comments and messages and texts and calls I've received over the last, you know, week or so, I feel love back. I feel like I've given out a lot of love and I've given out a lot of positivity and things like that. And I feel like I've gotten that back. And it's been so fulfilling to know all along I've had this type of impact in a positive way. So I'm very grateful and thankful for that.
Awesome. And I think that speaks a lot to the weight of the position that you were in, especially, I mean, think about 2020 and how just nuts it is. Someone turning on their radio at 10 a.m. and ready for your show is their silver lining, you know, in the day when something may have just been going wrong, and you not necessarily knowing the gravity of what you meant to someone and how you could have either inspired them, changed the trajectory of their day, or just provided some sense of escape, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So representation, I spoke a little bit about this when I was discussing the people like Chadwick Boseman, the people that we look up to. Who were some of the giants in your life that you saw that says, they look like me? That means I can do this. Who were representation wise? Who was it for you?
Well, first, I definitely want to, you know, say my condolences and prayers for his family, for his loved ones. He was a real life hero, you know, and to learn that he was diagnosed, I believe, like 4 years ago or something like that. He still pushed through all of that, and he was here to serve the people, you know, whether that's with charity events, whether that's donated money, whether that's the movies he played in, which was for the mass audience, you know, playing these Black characters that really made a difference in our world. Man, it's tough to see somebody like that go. And I hate to take like the easy answer here, but like I have to add him. I have to push him really to the top of the list. You know, man, no matter what you're going through, you can do it. It kind of goes back to that too. I mean, it's really, we're blessed to be a blessing to other people. And that's, again, goes back to what I was just saying. I've always felt like I'm in service to other people. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, God put me here. He's given me these talents and these gifts to impact other people. And, you know, I hope that I'm doing that, God. And I hope that, you know, people receive that. And I felt like Chadwick Boseman was doing the same thing, and he's done that too. So he would be like the easy answer, especially being, you know, the most recent king to pass on. But also Kobe Bryant, unfortunately, all in the same year, you know, but hard work always pays off. And as far as an athlete, he did what he set out in his mind to do, which was be one of the greatest, if not the greatest basketball player of all time. Mm-hmm. And then it also goes toward his impact on me was a lot of like what my dad would teach me too, when winners never quit and quitters never win. And Kobe Bryant never, ever quit, never, ever gave up. No matter what was going on in his personal life or the things we knew about and the things we don't know about. You don't know, but he was always fighting to win. And that meant a lot to me. And they're not even in the radio business. They're not even in media. You know, they're and we're talking about an actor and an athlete. But they meant a lot to me. They continue to mean a lot to me.
Yeah, but just growing up as a kid, seeing somebody on that level of success with that level of determination and work ethic that looks like you is so important.
Absolutely.
Going back to like you were talking about, you don't necessarily know what's going on behind the scenes to get them there. What does your behind the scenes process look like? Because we see Freddy Mac, we see the glamour, we see the smiles, we see the DJs, we see the parties, but what stepping stones and what hardships or what does your success story look like?
Man, because, you know, social media is always the highlight reel.
Right.
Yeah. It's always the shiny, glamorous stuff. But for me, it's a lot of late nights, show prepping, you know, for a show or preparing for an artist interview, doing all the research. When I DJ weddings too, it's a lot of long nights. Well, first, before we even get to the wedding, it's all the prep that goes into that, meeting with the client, learning them, understanding their musical taste, how they met, and all that time that goes into that. And then when you get to the wedding, putting up the equipment, tearing down the equipment, driving home, you know. And I wish I had a camera crew to document all of it so that, you know, people can know it's not just glamour all the time. There really is a lot of hard work that goes into it. Plus, again, that work-life balance. I'm trying to make sure I spend enough time with my wife. You know what I mean? Like, stay home enough and again, slow down enough where I'm present and I'm not just thinking about work. Because that's the other part of the behind-the-scenes thing. My brain is always turning. Mm-hmm. So I'm constantly like, you know, observing things and like, oh, I need to remember this. I need to talk about this on the show, or I want to make sure I don't forget this or to do this or schedule that. And so just trying to remain present, struggling with that. But that's all a part of the behind the scenes too. Your brain just constantly going. And just sometimes even late at night, it's hard to turn off.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I just thought of a question that wasn't originally in our deck, but rejection. I don't think we talk a lot about that when it comes to our successes and our goals and our dreams. I don't even know if we account for it when we have plan A and we know this is what I've decided to do. How big of a role did rejection play in your come up story?
Man, a huge part, I think. And I didn't let myself get too down on it. That's the thing, like not quitting. This all really correlates all together. It's all one huge circle. And it was just a mindset that I had of even way back as an intern, right? There were no positions on the air open for me or open for a full-time position. And so it was a lot of no's, there was a lot of not right nows, there was a lot of closed doors. But I just knew this is what I want to do. So whether it happens here at this radio station or at another one, I'm going to get where I know I want to go. And luckily it happened with the same station I interned at, and I just kind of rose the ranks and stuff there. But yeah, there was a lot of no's and not right nows earlier on. But I just kept working. Kept practicing, kept making myself available for what I did get a yes to, which was part-time working events and stuff like that. Whatever I can do, hey, I'm available. This guy over here, I'd tell my other job, I'd call in sick if I had to, but I'm gonna be over at the radio station. They got an event going on and I want to work it. So they knew, hey, this guy's gonna put everything aside so he can work and he can put in the work. And so, yeah, that was a tough couple of years, but soon enough, when the opportunity was right, when the timing was right, the opportunity made itself available and things worked out.
Absolutely. Talking about rejection and the mindset that you had to have as far as resilience, is this generation in specific, we always, people love to down the millennials and Generation Z and Generation Y for not having that grind, that work ethic, because things were handed to us or whatever. What do you believe is the biggest principle that this generation needs to have? I don't want to say lacks, but should sharpen.
I would probably
community. You preface that specifically.
Yeah, I think, and I wish I could kind of take credit for the quote, but it was, I think something Black men and women can master is invest in your mental health. Deal with your, and the other quote was, deal with your trauma before your trauma deals with you.
Deals with you, absolutely.
And again, I wish I could take credit for that. And I think, like over the last 8 months or so, 9 months, I started seeing a mental health professional. Now, my personal road I wasn't necessarily, and this is the problem too. A lot of people think that you seeing a psychologist or you're seeing a mental health care professional means something's wrong with you, or you're crazy, or are you suicidal, or things like that. And sometimes that is the reality of some people. First of all, it's not your business, but also like that is some people's reality where they are struggling with some things like that. Yeah. Mine was not necessarily my I
was gonna say, was it preventative?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You don't just go to the doctor when something's wrong.
Right.
You get a checkup every couple times a year or whatever, to make sure you're good. And that was really more so my headspace when it comes to that. And I felt like that really helped me become a better person for me. You know what I mean? Because I'm the only one. I mean, even though I'm married and all of that, I'm the one that's responsible for. I'm the one that's got to be with my brain 24/7. I'm the one that's got to deal with these thoughts that come in and out of my brain all the time. And I have to be able to recognize the good stuff and hold on to that, and then filter out like the bad stuff as much as I possibly can. And I think that's very, very, very important. Everybody's going through things, and to be able to sit and talk with somebody who can give you a different perspective on life or your own thoughts or your own situation or whatever the heck, I think that can make a huge difference in your life. And I know that it has for me. So.
Absolutely. And I think there's always been this, like you said, the stigma that seeing a mental health professional speaks less of who you are. But in reverse, I think it speaks more to who you are, because it is an act of love. It's an act of love for yourself, an act of love to those around you. So absolutely, I think that's a principle. And I'm excited to see that this generation is more open to it than before. Because, our parents, my grandparents, they're not seeing a therapist, period. But this generation absolutely is. So I'm excited that you said that and brought that to mind, because that's what I try to convey in my YouTube channels. It's all about self-development. And I don't want people to think that that's just for women.
Right.
It's so important for our men as well to take just as much intentionality on their mental health and emotional health.
It's very, very important. It's very, very important because, again, you got to deal with yourself all the time. You're the only one that's, you know, in your mind and the thoughts that you constantly hear it all the time, all the good and the bad.
Right.
And you got to be able to deal with that. You got to be able to be in a good space. And we all have our struggles. I'm not going to say, oh, you can start seeing a counselor, it's going to all be pan out and it's all going to be perfect all the time. I'm not saying that at all. It takes constant work. But yeah, it's definitely
the tools to be able to deal with things that you otherwise wouldn't know how or have the strategies to deal with.
Exactly. It's okay to ask for help. And again, not just women, men, it's all right to ask for help. And this is not something we are always blessed with learning as children. Mm-hmm. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be emotional. It's all right to feel something instead of just suppressing it all down. And I'm tough and I'm a man and I'm masculine. This is what we do as men. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Right.
We shouldn't. It's okay it's all right to be tough and be masculine, yeah. But it's okay to also realize I need help too. I'm not all the way there. I don't have it all figured out, you know? So I think that's very important. And I'm glad that you use your platform to make that apparent as well.
Thank you. Absolutely. I think, like you said, it's responsibility. It's my way of giving back as well, because I think it's important. I want to see our generation be better and feel better and do better. Let me ask you, what are some of your self-care, what are some of the ways that you take care of yourself? Daily routines, favorite practices? What does Fred do to take care of himself?
Man, again, another thing that's a work in progress. Because what I normally do is like as soon as I wake up, is jump on my phone. What I miss? Emails, social media, this, that, and the other. And then your mind is immediately clouded with like all this crap and useless stuff. But on a good day, on a perfect day, I like to wake up and pray. And first of all, thank God for another day and to help me throughout that day that I'm about to, all the whatever I'm about to face. And I like to read my devotional and just really prepare for the day in that way. I think that helps kind of safeguard my brain from the start. I already wake up kind of on a good foot, hopefully.
It like creates a filter so that everything that happens throughout the day is filtered through that positivity that you.
Exactly. And in my daily devotional too, there's sometimes things in it that could prepare me, if not for that day, the next day, right? And each one just kind of builds on each other. But yeah, I like to start off with prayer in a devotional. And again, a work in progress. It's not something I do every day, but I'm trying. I'm working on it. And then also, this year has been a curse in a lot of ways, like we talked about with the pandemic and everything, but also a blessing to help me slow down and be more present. So I like to make sure I get my rest. And even if that's just being at home, lounging around, I'm chilling.
Right.
You know, I'm relaxing. Because that's also important too. And I've grown so in love with just being home now, just being and just taking that time to just relax myself from all the things I'm doing and go, zip zap.
And
I like to just
for it. Right.
No, yeah, and just be like, nah, I said no. And that's okay. I'm not available. I'm at home. I got rest to get. You know,
my plans include sleep, and that's fine.
Exactly. That's okay. That's a big component of I guess my ritual is rest. My spiritual devotions and prayer and stuff, but also getting that rest and just being okay with just chilling.
Absolutely. So on a heavier, less self-care topic, this year as a Black man, I can only imagine how tough it has been mentally, psychologically, physically, just being out and about in America as a Black man. What has been your experience? And then we're going to get into some other ancillary questions, but how has Fred dealt with 2020 as a Black man?
Wow. Because it's been one of huge sigh. It's been a year. It's been a lot. And we only a little over halfway.
I'm going to say it's not even September technically. I know.
But I've really just tried to take it a day at a time. That's really it. Again, going back to slowing down and just focusing on the day to day, and just trying to make it home, back home to re-up for the next day.
Not to be taken for granted. Absolutely.
No, man, you gotta count your blessings. You gotta count your blessings and realize like every day is a blessing. It truly is. It truly is. And to make the most of each day.
Absolutely. I know your dad, was he retired police?
Yeah.
Okay. Has this changed the dynamic of you all's relationship now that you're a grown African-American man, soon to be father of African-American son? Has that changed your relationship with your father, especially with him having the perspective of both sides of the relationship between police officers and civilians?
No, yeah, my dad's a retired Maryland State Trooper. And that's always, growing up, it gave me a unique perspective on life, because he was in the Army before that. So he was like drill sergeant in a lot of ways. And especially raising two boys in America, it was a tough job for him. And it's going to be a tough job for me. But
are you going to be like your dad, as strict and cutthroat as your dad?
I don't know, man. And you know, I feel like kind of in between on it, just because he was so tough on me. I turned out great. I think I turned out okay. I think he did. I'm a product of him and my mom being there for me and instilling a lot of these different values in me and whatnot. But I'm the product. So, and I think I turned out okay. He's happy with how I turned out. So I think that I turned out okay. And I think he feels like he's done a great job. And so, but back to him being a police officer dad, man, growing up, dad, can I go here? Can I go there? Nah. No, who gonna be there? No. And you know, outside gonna be there. There's gonna be more parties or whatever. I don't believe anything that has happened has changed my perspective on my dad. My dad is still the best man I've ever met, I've ever known. Even though he used to be a police officer. Now, what I do know is he was a great police officer. He is a great man. He is a great person. And so, yeah, there's some police officers that are doing some things that they shouldn't be doing. And they feel like they can just because they got a badge and a gun. My dad was not one of those people. So I realized it ain't everybody. It ain't all the cops. You know, it's not all the white people either. It's just some that kind of make it look bad for everybody. It'd be the same if it was like one kid acting up in class. It ain't the whole class. It's like one kid. I was that kid. And that's why my dad was so strict, you know? But no, my dad, he's the greatest man I've ever known. And I'm appreciative and I'm grateful for him being as tough as he was on me. Because I don't know where I would be without him being that tough and doing what he felt he needed to do when it came time for discipline and stuff like that.
Right. And I'm sure what he taught you on how to deal with law enforcement has kept you alive today. So yeah,
that too. That was a very important, constant lesson growing up. You know, and still to this day, he's still giving insight. He's still telling me things from what he knows. He don't ever tell me, this is a direct quote, I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. And you know, he still does that to this day, which I'm so grateful for.
Absolutely. So, as a soon-to-be father of a Black son, first of all, congratulations to you, Fred.
Thank you.
I remember when he was goofing off in the hallways, just acting crazy.
We go way back.
Way back. But just to see how far you come, I mean, you're married, you are booming, doing what you love, and now you're getting ready to bring life into the world. And your first son, I know that's a big deal for men to have their firstborn, their son. What is going to be your approach, your strategy, the way that you rear him, especially in this environment and this culture that is so toxic in a lot of ways? How do you plan to preserve his hope, preserve his innocence, preserve his mind, but at the same time can make sure that he is instilled with common sense and some sense of realness about his Blackness?
Yeah, well, I'm first of all, I'm blessed to be given that opportunity by God for Him to entrust me with raising
Absolutely.
a young black man. Man, that is a huge responsibility, but it's also a blessing too, man. I'm just grateful that God thinks enough of me. Like He gonna put this on me. Like you can do this. I'm trusting you with this responsibility, and I'm grateful for that. But I think I'm gonna raise him with the idea and the understanding that it's a privilege to be black. As
Yeah.
tough as it is, it's still a privilege to be black. It's a great thing to be a black man in America or anywhere else, but it is a great thing, no matter what anybody says. If somebody says different, but I want to raise him with that in his mind first and foremost. Also, that it's okay to have emotions and to feel. It's okay. It's totally normal. I'm not going to make him feel weird about feeling sad or feeling down or feeling like, that's okay. That's life. And, I'm a listen when I'm gonna do all the things my dad did for me, for the most part. I'm a listen to him and let him know it's okay. You can talk to me. I'm here for you. I love you. I got your best interests at heart. And, also how to communicate those feelings too.
Yes.
That's a big part of it. Communicating, because when you talk about black men specifically in America and dealing with other men, when you talk about dealing with females, when it comes time for relationships, a lot of us men don't know how to communicate. We don't. Again, this ain't something I don't just know all of this stuff. I'm still working on this too. But we don't know how to communicate. We don't talk. We beat around the bush, we play games, we do different things, but we got to be able to communicate what we feeling and what we thinking the right way. And that's definitely going to be a core value too. There's a long list of things, but that's a couple things. I want to raise him to be a great man, just like my dad. I want him to be great like my dad.
Absolutely. Your dad is a great man. I remember from my days in grade school, him and Shirley Davis were known as like the strictest parents in school.
They were. My dad was always up at the school. Like, so I didn't even know half the time. Like my friends were after class. Oh, I saw your dad. Where? What? And he's trying to think back. Like, what was I doing? Like, what was I misbehaving in class a second ago? Like, scared. But that's because he wanted the best for us, and your mom wanted the best for you. Like, our parents are great human beings, and they wanted nothing for us but for us to succeed. Right. And again, I just hope that.
I was gonna say, they danced that fine line of protection and sheltering us, but at the same time being able to have a great relationship and expose us to so much. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. I love how our parents raised us. Even at the time, I couldn't stand it. I was upset. I can't hang with my friends. I can't do this. But they did their job. They did what they felt was the right thing to do. So I hope and pray that I can even do half that for my son.
So as we wrap up, I have two final questions for you. What should the world remember when we think about living full, dying empty, and the legacy of the Black man in America? What should the world remember about Freddie Mac? What's your legacy?
Ooh, man, that's tough. That's a great question though, and I love live full and die empty. I just want to be remembered, and I want my legacy. First of all, I want generational wealth for my son, his sons, their sons. All the thoughts that go into that, the strategies that may go into that, building generational wealth. So I want that to be a part of my legacy too. But also, earn everything you get. Work hard. Hard work pays off. And I want people to remember that I did those things. I was always positive. I was always willing to lend a helping hand.
Contagious smile.
I got a contagious smile, and I hopefully my smile makes you smile, and
right.
we the next person can make the next person smile. And that I always showed love. I was always a representation of love and not of hate. And not of negativity, always positivity.
I can give that to you. I think you are a great personification of Black boy joy. You just
Thank you.
existed. You do. As long as I've known you. That's one thing about it. It's like no one has ever not liked Fred. He's just charismatic and he's always funny. So absolutely, I'm glad. I wanted people to hear that from your mouth. You know, we always, God forbid, whenever our time comes, you know, people talk about you, but it's good for us to say, this is what I want to be known for, and this is how I live my life day to day, and you can see that. So
absolutely, for sure.
What's next? Your chapter is brand new right now. So what are you writing in your chapter besides your baby boy?
My baby boy's coming in December. I'm so excited for him to get here. Also, professionally, I'm not leaving radio, although I did just leave the job where I started as an intern 8 years ago, but I'm moving to Cincinnati. So on top of having a baby, I'm moving to a brand new city for a new radio job.
Wow.
At Q102 in Cincinnati. So this is really the first time I'm saying this like publicly too. So exclusive.
Exclusive. Wow. Congratulations. That's a huge move, Fred.
Yeah. It's big. It's big. And God feels that I'm ready. I feel that I'm ready. And the door, again, the right door has been opened at the right time. And it's time. And I'm ready for what's to come from that opportunity.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Well, y'all can tell, I'm excited. This conversation to me was very fruitful, very productive, and very positive. And that's exactly why I invited him to be our guest. It was the perfect way to have our inaugural male guest to open up the discussion. Hey. So thank you again, Fred. I am going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you guys for tuning in this week or this month for our segment of the Gift of Gab. I hope it was a gift. This is my way that I exit. I hope it was a gift to you from me. Fred, any last words before we sign off?
Spread love each and every day. The people that look like you and to those who don't, but spread love each and every day.
Absolutely. Wait, what is your sign off when you were on your old radio show?
Well, one of them was, I hope that you continue to have positive thoughts. Now, I can't even remember, man. It was just a few days ago.
What?
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh, man. I hope that you have more positive thoughts that lift you higher and give you inner peace.
And with that, we're out.